But I want to play for you another czar. You heard about Van Jones. You didn't hear about the next one. Here is regulatory czar Cass Sunstein, much more dangerous than Van Jones, in my opinion, because this one is much smarter. In 2007, he spoke at the Chicago School of Law about your right to bear arms. Listen to what he said in clip 14.
In terms of judicial developments, it is striking and noteworthy that well over 2 centuries since the founding, the Supreme Court has never suggested that the Second Amendment protects an individual right to have guns. Not once.
Now, that was in 2007. Of course, in 2008, the Supreme Court, in fact, thanks to George Bush, did support the idea that the Second Amendment protects the individual's right to own guns. But this man, Cass Sunstein, should be on your radar screen. He is a blip. He's a ship. You can hit it. You can go down. It's another iceberg for the Titanic. There's another one coming up on the radar screen. One was pushed aside. We missed it, Van Jones. The next iceberg that must be looked at very carefully is Cass Sunstein. He wants to take your guns. Listen to clip 13.
My tentative suggestion is that the individual right to have guns, as it's being conceptualized now, is best taken as a contemporary creation and a reflection of current fears, not a reading of civic-centered founding debates. Modern gun owners who are invoking the Second Amendment on the basis of a principle they favor are perfectionists.
So this evildoer, this communist, wants your guns. Who is he? Cass Sunstein. What does he do? Another silent communist-era regulatory czar who wants to take your guns away. Did I make up his speech? Did I put words in his mouth? Where did he say these things? Am I taking him out of context? He gave these speeches in 2007 at the Chicago School of Law. He wants your guns. He's in the White House. He whispers in the king's ear. You understand or don't you understand? He's next. He's the next iceberg. The good ship America could hit this one. You lose your right to bear arms. He's the next one. Remember what I just said. Czars, Tsar Nikolai, czars are un-American. Tsar Nikolai, czars are un-American. Czars who don't answer to Congress, czars who have not passed background checks, czars running America. And you think there's not been a revolution because you believe Wolf Blitzer? You think there's not been a revolution because you listen to Katie Koran? You think there's not been a revolution because you listen to empty suits and empty skirts? Understand something. Czars don't belong in America, but Obama, the communist, surrounded himself with unregulated czars. And Cass Sunstein is the next one on your radar screen, because if the good ship America hits Cass Sunstein's iceberg, you lose your right to bear arms. Now, here's Cass Sunstein in clip 11.
My coming view is that the individual right to bear arms reflects the success of an extremely aggressive and resourceful social movement, and has much less to do with good standard legal arguments than appears.
I'd like to take those legal arguments and shove them up you know what, you rat you. You filthy Bolshevik rat you. You are so lucky I have no power, Sunstein. You're exactly the kind of vermin I hate. I hate men like you. I hate men like you because you... I don't know you, Cass Sunstein, but I'm going to take a wild guess. Your ancestors fled tyranny in Eastern Europe. They came to America and kissed the ground. They worshipped you. You were the man-child in the promised land. You went to a good law school, and what did you do? You grew up and took the law degree and tried to stab the country in the back. Now you want to take away the guns from the people who defended your ancestors? Now you want to turn the people into powerless masses who will be at the control of gangs, who will not be subject to the government seizure of guns, Cass? Cass, you are a disgrace to yourself. You're a disgrace to the law. You're a disgrace to your people. You're a disgrace to your ancestors. And you, my friend, should be next on the radar screen of the evil right wing. You, my friend, should be the next Van Jones. Play the next one.
Consider, for example, that part of the law of the District of Columbia that requires citizens to keep lawfully owned shotguns bound at home by a trigger lock. Suppose that a citizen objects, as citizens have been objecting, that the trigger lock interferes with his efforts at self-defense against criminals. What on earth does that have to do with the Second Amendment as originally understood?
You piece of turd, you rat, you vermin, you. You got people who want to defend their wives and children with a shotgun, and you're telling them they have no right to do so? Who's going to defend them? You? You and your son Marvin in the ACLU? They're going to come running to defend them? Cass, you're next on the list, Cass. Cass, listen to me. I hope you're hearing by now, Cass. You think you're riding high? You're real high now, aren't you, Cass? Look how far you got. Look at that. Look how far you got. Look where you are. You're in the White House. You talk to the president. You hate the American people, don't you? Don't you hate their guts? Don't you really have pity on them, how stupid they are? You watch Cops and you see the white trash, and you know better than them, right, Cass? You're better than them. You went to law school. Your ancestors are superior to them in every way. So you know they don't need guns, Cass. It's men like you who can control them with your genius. So, Cass, here's a present for you. The vast right-wing conspiracy that pointed out the dangers of Van Jones are now on to you, and you're next to go. If Obama doesn't throw you overboard, he's in real trouble, because the one thing that is the third rail of politics for the Democrats right now, something bigger than health care, is guns. And let me tell you something. In Indiana, they love their guns. In the Midwest, they love their guns. All across the heartland of America, they love their guns. They grew up on guns. In fact, it was their fathers and grandfathers who saved America from the Nazis, because they grew up hunting varmints. And so they knew how to track an animal and knew how to shoot an animal. Many of them became wonderful riflemen in World War II, and then some of them went into the Air Force. And because they learned how to shoot animals with guns, they learned how to track an enemy in a P-51 Mustang. As a result, we won the war, Cass. Not you, not your ilk, not your type. You probably would need a package of Depends if somebody shot a BB gun near you. But, Cass, you're number two. You're the next Van Jones. The vast right-wing conspiracy has found the YouTube tape of you telling Americans that they have no right to bear arms, speaking at the Chicago School of Law in 2007. Remember the name. He's the new Van Jones. His name is Cass Sunstein. And I hope that the hem gets onto these YouTube pieces, and hem gets out the blackboard and goes after Cass. I'll be right back.
Savage.